To start with, we're really excited about the guys that signed with us today. We have 21 signees, and this has been a kind of a long road. When you think about when we first got here 2 years ago, we started recruiting a lot of these guys 2 years out, and we've built a lot of relationships with them. I think it says a lot about the men on our staff, the folks that work in our recruiting department, everybody associated with our program, from administration to the weight room, nutritionist, athletic training, to the staff over at the Thornton Center and academics, and everybody across campus. When you talk about recruiting, it's a team effort, and we have used all the resources here at Tennessee, from to start with our chancellor to some of the deans in certain departments. Everybody's been bought in and done everything that they could to sell this program, and our players, our current players. Can't say enough about what they've done and the interaction when these guys come to campus and building relationships. If you look at our recruiting class, I think you got to start at home base, which is in this state. We have 10 guys that sign with us from this state, and they're all across the state, from Memphis to East Tennessee. So, I'm just glad to keep guys here at home. When you talk about needs, I think offensively you got to start at the quarterback position. We signed 2 guys in Harrison Bailey and Jimmy Holiday, and probably the 2 guys couldn't really be any more different when you look at them as football players. Harrison's a big guy that has a live arm, really does a lot of things from within the pocket. He just was led his team to a state championship. A guy that really has anticipation throwing the football, is a great leader, captain of his football team. Jimmy Holiday's a guy that's a phenomenal athlete. Is kind of one of these guys that you're seeing that's changing the game in pro football right now with his versatility of how he can run the football. Different types of run games that he can do, and as a guy, anytime he has the ball in his hands, has a chance to go the distance for a touchdown. At running back, a local guy here in T. Hodge is a guy that we targeted early on. He came to one of the first camps that we had here. And again, another guy that's part of a state championship team. Is a big guy, loves Tennessee, wanted to be here, has been a core guy in this class to help recruit, committed and never wavered the whole time. Laneith Whitehead from Athens Academy in Athens, Georgia, is a guy that is a big athlete, probably 235 pounds, but throws the shot 69 feet, so tells you a little bit about his athleticism. Unfortunately, had an injury this past year, didn't get to finish, but his high school team has been to the state championship a couple of times over the last few years. Athletes, Jabari Small is a guy that from Briarcrest that can play tailback. He can play in the slot. To me, is a guy very similar to a guy we signed last year in Eric Gray. He's used to winning, a guy that can get out of the backfield and create mismatches, a rocket sweep guy, return guy. At wide receiver, Jimmy Calloway. Jimmy's a guy that played a lot of quarterback in high school, a little bit of wildcat. He's a kick return guy, extremely fast, has a tremendous upside. Anytime he touches the ball, he has a chance to score. Really played both sides of the ball in high school, but a guy that we'll focus on at wide receiver, but a very instinctive guy. Jalen Hyatt from Columbia, South Carolina, is a guy that I think I saw his record. He's 51-1-1 as a high school player. So a guy that's used to winning, won his 4th consecutive state championship this past year. When you talk about fast, guy runs 10.4 and 100 meters. Really good route runner. Is a guy that has committed to our class back in the summer and never wavered the entire time. I don't think he took another visit. So we're extremely happy about both of those guys. Up front, starting with a local guy, Cooper Mays, a guy that we saw when we first got here. He was playing center guard, played a little bit of defense, but you talk about playing with toughness, knows how to play the game instinctive, plays the right leverage up front. a guy that we think has tremendous upside, a guy that could come in here and contribute right away. James Robinson from Montgomery, Alabama, is a guy that came to camp this past year, so we had a chance to see him work. He played right tackle on his high school team, but probably is a guy that would end up being a guard for us, but a guy that has power, 6'3", 320 pounds. And James is, he came here at camp and probably took 60 or 70 reps of one-on-one in about an hour. So just took rep after rep after rep, which tells you a little bit about his competitive spirit. Javontes Spragans from East St. Louis is another guy that was part of a state championship team. Probably 6'2", 338 pounds. A guy that's extremely athletic, has really good balance and body control. Is probably as excited as about having a chance to continue his football career in college as anybody I've ever been a part of in recruiting. A guy that's just hungry, ready to get here. He's already been calling today, wanting to get the playbook, wanting to get the next workout. So, guy that's used to winning. On the defensive side, I think you got to start up front. The first scholarship that we got in today was Omari Thomas out of Briarcrest, a guy that can play anywhere up and down the line of scrimmage, 6'4", 300 pounds. Guy that really could play defensive end all the way to nose guard. Is a guy that we'll probably start outside and work our way around, but it's a guy that can play all three downs. Very good basketball player, also plays tennis, so that tells you a little bit what kind of athletic ability that he has there. Dominic Bailey is a guy that's been committed to us for a long time from St. Francis Academy there in Baltimore, Maryland. A guy that every single day I went and watched these guys practice. Now, I thought it was the Pittsburgh Steelers out there practicing. Their high school team was so big, but the guys that he's practiced against every single day are really probably guys that are all going to college. So he's going to kind of be used to the wear and tear when he gets here. Again, a guy that's used to winning and was sold on UT from the first day that he got here. R.J. Perry out of Birmingham, Alabama. This guy's a very unique athlete. He's 6'6", 305 pounds, got 35-inch arms. Played tight end some in high school, played left tackle, played defensive line, and also played a little bit of wide receiver. So that's kind of an unusual combination. You go watch him play basketball. Very good basketball player, but a guy that we felt like was exactly what we were looking for when it comes to the defensive side of the ball. At linebacker, and I'll start kind of at outside linebacker, Tyler Barron, a local product here, is a guy that we targeted early on 2 years ago that we felt like was one of the best players in the country. Has a unique blend of size and speed. 6'4", 265 pounds, that can play all four downs, could probably play up and down the line of scrimmage, but a guy that we see as an outside linebacker for us. When we're looking for that, we're looking for 4-3 defensive ends, guys that can come off the edge, and a guy that can play all three downs. Martavius French, to me, is a guy that's can play all four positions. When it comes to linebacker, he could play inside or he could play outside. He's from Memphis. We signed a couple of his teammates, and all these guys, I think in the last 2 years they've lost 2 ball games. But when you talk about hard-nosed, loving the game, just when you go watch this guy play, you can see before the ball snaps, he knows what play's really coming from the offensive side of the ball. So you can tell he studies the game. He knows how to play the plays on defense, but a guy that we're excited about. Morven Joseph, a guy we just got his commitment in, is another guy that can play all four spots. Has unique ability to rush off the edge. He could actually play inside. Would be a great special teams player. Has length, range. Probably going to grow a lot if you look at his kind of his build. Really wide shoulders, has length, long arms, big hands. So a guy that's probably going to add some weight, but a guy that can play all four spots, is a playmaker. So when it gets to third down, you're trying to decide, are you going to play this guy and rush him off the edge, or is he going to be a guy that plays inside and is playing on the better running backs in our league? When you talk about inside linebackers, to me, Bryson Eason, 6'2", 270-pound guy, large man, big hands. You're talking about a thumping guy that's instinctive, that can run from sideline to sideline. Played a lot of ball, had a chance to go watch these guys play in this past fall, and he's all over the field. So him and French played on the same high school team, and they were tough to get any yards against. When you look at defensive backs, Tamarion McDonald is a guy that played again at Whitehaven there in Memphis, one of the Tennessee guys. To me, this is a guy that he could play safety, he could play star. He's a guy, he's 6'2", 205 pounds, big bone density, a guy that could possibly grow into a linebacker, but we'll start him off at safety, but will be a phenomenal special teams player because he's a runner, he's a hitter, has really good ball skills, and he's used to winning there. Keyshawn Lawrence is a guy in Nashville at Ensworth. To me, he's a guy that can play all 5 positions. He reminds me of a few guys that I've coached over the years that play in the NFL. You know, he has length, has great ball skills. When you watch his tape, everything he does is with instincts. He's a great punt returner, kickoff returner, and he's a guy that committed early in our class and has really been a big part of kind of recruiting the other guys. Then the last guy here is Danico Slaughter. You know, he's a guy that we had in camp this past year. We didn't offer him at camp. We really thought that he had some unique ability in his cover ability. You know, his hips, his movements was everything that we were looking for as a guy that we wanted to watch his senior tape. And he had a phenomenal senior year. The guy scored 4 defensive touchdowns. He was all over the field, a guy that played kind of on the slot like a star. He can cover. He has range in the back end. He's instinctive. He's a ball hawk, and we're excited to have him. And last but not least, Will Albright. Will's a guy that played inside linebacker on his high school football team. He's a long snapper. Came to camp 2 years ago. We felt like he was the best guy at our camp as a long snapper. We're going to need one next year. And he's a football player. You know, so when you look at our class top to bottom, we're excited about them. You know, the guys are used to winning. They're close. They're a group. They have a group kind of text message going amongst them. And, you know, these guys are excited about being here. You know, again, I can't say enough about our current players and what they meant to this recruiting class. You know, they're our best recruiters, and they'll continue to be that. But I'm excited about the foundation of these guys, and can't wait to get them here and get started with them.